In this episode of the Miata Revival, we're going to set the timing, fix some miscellaneous leaks, maybe replace some fasteners that seem to have evaporated, and give the brakes some TLC. Let's get into it. Maximum safety! Well, I went ahead and put some wind in the old tires here, and they seem to be holding up pretty alright. So the next thing I want to do to kind of get this thing running better is set the timing for the Mega Squirt engine computer thing. And previously I wasn't able to do too good of a job there because I had trouble getting a timing light on these coilover plug. And I bought one of these spark plug tester thingies that has this extension lead, and that allows me to get my timing light clamp around it. And so the hope is we'll go inside on the computer and set the timing at a fixed amount, and then we'll be able to see how far off we are on the little timing marks. Ow! Fuck, that's hot! Ow! On the timing marks down here. So I've got the spark set up for a fixed 10 degrees. I can see the mark is about 3 degrees off down there. So we're going to go in on the computer and change it and see if we can get it to line up with the little 10 degree mark on there. The white mark down there on the crank is now lined up with the 10 degree mark. So we should be in good shape here, and Mega Squirt knows where the engine is in the rotation so we can do accurate spark advance. As I was putting the number one coil back in, I was looking around and I noticed there's a little puddle down there. Let's see if you can see that. I'm guessing that's fuel because, let's see if you can see, there's one bolt for the intake manifold down there. Well, what's that? Is that a stud that doesn't have a nut on it? Let's see. Oh, look, there's another hole that's missing a fastener. I'm surprised this thing hasn't caught on fire yet. Well, it's day 2 of Miata Revival, and yesterday we noticed there was some drip from around the injectors. So I went ahead and ordered some Injector Seals. So we're going to pop out the fuel rail here and pop out the injectors and put the new seals in and see if that alleviates the potential fireball situation. I went ahead and pulled the injectors, and some of them look pretty good. There's number 1. But some of them may have been leaking. This top O-ring is what really seals the pressure from the fuel rail, and that was definitely buggered up there. So we're going to replace all the rubber here since we've taken them out, and we'll clean these up and put them back in. We should be good to go. Here's one I've kind of cleaned up here. So they're all ready to go back in, and in fact I've already put several of them back in, so we'll throw this last one back in and fire it up and see if we have any leaks. While I had the injectors out, I went ahead and replaced some of those fasteners on the intake that were missing, so hopefully we get a little better vacuum now. And after just running the engine, there are no more leaks. I went ahead and got this dirty girl up on jack stands, and well, it's mostly good, you know. Let's take a look at some of the things I found. That is the end of the exhaust manifold, and then this here is the downpipe, and you'll notice there's a fastener missing, and if you look on that side of it from the top, the gasket is kind of hanging out and broken, so I think we need some new gaskets and maybe some new fasteners here. I wasn't sure if I had removed the catalytic converter or not, but that's it right there. And you'll notice it too is missing a fastener. I think that some of those bolts were kind of a pain in the butt to get to when I put this back together last time, and they just didn't get put back on. another bolt that's missing. And this long rail that goes back is called the power plant frame, and it ties the rear end, the differential, to the transmission here. And if I remember correctly, there was one bolt that was kind of being difficult to get in. I think I still have that one in a box somewhere, so we'll try to put that in too. But well, I busted out the bolt buster here, and I was able to get it in. It was very reticent to thread, so I might have cross-threaded it, but you know, the good news is it's not going to come out. And there's all of about like 2 inches of space for me to work back here. We're going to try to take some of these nuts out and maybe put some new gaskets in here. We're going to get it out one way or another. We're going to try again to get these kind of frozen exhaust bolts off the Catalytic Converter. And this time we're going to use one of my favorite tools, the death wheel. And this time it might actually live up to its name, because there's like no space here. So it's going to be like right up in my grill when I do the cutting. This should be really, really fun. Wish me luck, guys. I haven't killed myself yet, but man, this is sketchy. Okay. Hey, we broke it off. There we go. So why were we doing all this in the first place? Well, this is what's left of the gasket from the header down to this downpipe that I just took off. So we're going to replace on this, and since the cat's 30 years old, and you know, we like the birds and the bees, we're going to replace on that too. Ow, fuck, that's hot. I've got a replacement on the way that should be here in a few days, so we'll snip that in there. Well, I ended up going with plan B since the cat wouldn't come off of the thing, so I went ahead and just removed all of the exhaust. Cars are better without exhaust anyway, so here we can easily snip this apart, and then when the new cat gets here, we'll put everything back together and just put it all in as one piece instead of having to do everything up under the car. That'll make everything a lot easier. I neglected to shoot video of the exhaust installation, but the new Catalytic Converter is here and it's all installed, and all of the bolts are there now and nice and tight. So I don't think we're going to have any more leaks, and I'll be able to breathe in the cabin now. As I've been driving the car, I've noticed a lot of rattling coming here from the back tire area, and I did some poking around, and well, some dumbass didn't put the brake hardware little springy thingies in there when they changed the brake pads last, so I've got some over there. We're gonna put them in here, see if that rattle goes away. Alright, the tire's off, and as you can see, normally there'd be some like little metal shimmy things in between the pad and the caliper bracket. Well, those aren't there, and as you can imagine, driving down the road, that's about all you hear. So I went to my local auto farts dealer and got some springy things, so let's toss those in there. Here's what it looks like with what I believe to be the proper installation. You know, you got your spring my thing out here, so I put the caliper on first, and then I put this on so that it didn't eject the pads. And I got this little buffer thing here, and you can see no more rattling. Okay, maybe a little bit, but not near as much. And that should be a lot quieter once we get the car back together. So we got some brake fluid. I don't know, it doesn't look terrible, but I've got this previously opened can of some DOT3, and we're just going to dump it in there and flush it through, and maybe there's less water in this than there is in that. I don't know, we'll see. I got the bleeder all hooked up, and you can see you know, I've got a vacuum pulled on it, and we've been pulling through some of this dirty ass fluid. Fluid looks like it's starting to clear up. Alright, this is the last batch of fluid to come through, and you can see it pretty well matches the reservoir. So I think we've got all the bubbles out. We'll give it a pedal test and make sure, and I think we'll move on to the other wheel. Well, here's the other side all done. Clippies and spring of things, and well, I suppose there isn't much left to do but to go test on the old girl. Let's do it. Mint! Let's go test on her. I can already tell the brake noise is quite a bit better. Normally going over bumps like that, we would hear some clanging. The rattling you're hearing right now, I believe, is from the heat shields on the exhaust. So we might be deleting those here soon. One thing I've noticed is right about 3,000 RPM, the car has some jerkiness, some hesitation, and I believe that's due to the tuning of the ECU. I think if we spend some time tuning on it, we might be able to get some better performance out of the vehicle. But as you can see, it's a lot quieter. It's running reasonably well. We've still got some smoke out the back, but I think when we change out the valve stem seals, the next episode, we'll get that fixed. So she's running, but she's not running great. In the next episode, we're gonna tackle the valve stem seals, and maybe after that we'll do an episode on tuning and see if we can really get her to scream. Thanks for watching. See you next time.